Yes, it's 7 a.m. Yes, I'm at the beach. It's Monday, off today. Got some errands to run. But first, I was like, let me stop by the beach. Out here early before I start my day. With my runny nose. It's calm. This is Club Sunset though, so you know we don't get in this water. It's pretty this morning. I love mornings. I love every day, but mornings are pretty to me. Especially at like 5 in the morning. Oh man, it's pretty. It's still, it's quiet. Ain't nobody out. It's dark. I just love it. Cloudy, cloudy all week. They said the sun ain't coming out this week. I don't know. He's out, but clouds is heavy. It's time for me to schedule my um what tour am I getting ready to go on next? I'm going to go snorkeling. So I'm about to schedule that. Oh my God, I saw the area that they snorkel at, that they take you out to. It is so freaking pretty. I cannot wait to get there. I haven't been to the gym yet because I didn't want to get up. I was up, but I didn't want to get out of the bed. It's my first day being able to sleep in. So I was like, I'm sleeping in. I mean, laying in, I should say. I was already up. This morning I woke up at 3:45. I don't get tired of seeing this. I really don't. But it was raining. You can tell it rained last night. Sand's wet. Anyway, I'll check y'all later. I got some errands I need to run, so we might do a car chat. It just depends on how I feel, what I need to talk about. Good morning, y'all. New hair. Who this? I relaxed my hair, y'all. I haven't had a relaxer in years. But I was just like, I just woke up one morning, probably a week ago, and I was like, I'm tired of being natural, and I don't want no more haircuts. So and I know, like, after going through the whole thing of finally finding a barber in Maui and really liking him, manifesting a barber, and then I get him and I'm like, you know what? I don't even want my hair cut no more. So I got a haircut twice. And now I'm good. I don't want to cut my hair anymore. So, yeah, I decided to relax it. And I just put these little finger waves in it. I really don't know how to do hair. So since my hair's so short, when I relaxed it, I bought me some foaming wrap or whatever, and I just moved my comb along this my scalp. But yeah, I like it. I feel like it's part of just me coming into this new person and just feeling good. Like I'm letting go of the masculinity, and I think that those haircuts that I always used to get was part of like a more masculine look for me. Yeah, so black, I dyed it black again, and I like it. It's a softer look for me. And so yeah, I used Monday, my day off, Tuesday I was off, as my self-care days. So I did my manicure, I did my pedicure, I did my hair. What else? I started dry brushing. So I will get to tell y'all, like, I read everything about dry brushing, and for a while now, it's just something that I decided that I wanted to try. So since it was the beginning of the month, I was like, I'm gonna try for 30 days and see what this dry brushing is about. So I do that. It takes about 5 minutes before I get in the shower in the morning. So I stopped using my exfoliating gloves for now because I'm already exfoliating. With dry brushing is exfoliating. So yeah. So I just did a good. And then yesterday I had to do my 2-week checkup for my surgery that I had when I got my tubes removed, and everything's good. I ain't had no problems. My surgery, my wounds that they like, my sores, well, I don't want to call them sores, but I have 3 spots where they went into my stomach to remove my tubes, and they put little pieces of glue on them, and so the glue just closes the wound and then it'll fall off. And yesterday, if the 2 of them right above my bikini area fell off, and then the one that goes into my belly button, that went into my belly button, it fell off last week. And when I tell you, like, you are not gonna be able to see where I had the surgery, and they're little itty bitty sites where they went in, and it's just so cool because I wondered what that was gonna look like when the glue fell off. So yeah, I waxed my legs, and I gotta wait another week to wax my arms because they not as, my hair under my arms is not as long as it needs to be to wax. But if I was still naring, I would have already nared it, and I have to get used to not waxing. I have to get used to letting my hair grow in longer than what I would want it to grow, because I'm waxing and I'm not naring. Nair don't care how long your hair is. Wax, you need to, and I know better. So yeah, I did that. So next week I will wax my underarms. I've been in the gym. I am 153 pounds, y'all. Like, I feel so good about that. I love getting on the scale at the doctor's office. I don't, like, when I got here, I lost a lot of weight in the last 2 years. Just being in fight or flight, like, every day, and caused my cortisol levels to just, I would eat all the time and just wasn't holding on to the food. Like, I was 140 pounds when I came out here in July 22. So for me to be, and then I'm back in the gym too, putting on muscle, and it just feels good. I was 165 pounds at my most healthy self. So to plummet to 140, you know, that wasn't cool. Like, I'm happy that I'm gaining this weight back, and I really do. Like, I want to be 160, so I got 7 more pounds to gain, and I'm happy that I'm putting it on gradually. It ain't something that has to happen overnight, but my face, you know, went down. I lost fat in my breast. You know, I never had a big butt, but that was just flat. Like, my squats and my deadlifts and stuff running is bringing that back to a nice shape. But 153 pounds, so I've gained 13 pounds, and it hasn't been a year yet. So I'm happy. Like, I'm happy. Everything just coming together, man, and it feels good. I feel so good. I say that all the time, but it's true, because I really do feel good. My nervous system is healing itself, and it's not in, and it knows that it's safe now, and it's not in fight or flight all the time. And so, you know, like, it's good. I get good sleep. I've always slept good, but rest is different, you know. So I'm in a good place. I feel good. I'm on my way to work. And to be honest, I woke up this morning. Oh, I've been reading my Bible every day too. Like, since I told y'all I was going to start reading my Bible, I read my Bible every morning before work, and sometimes I read it at night. But I got through Genesis, and I just started Exodus last night. And the theme that ran through Genesis for me, first of all, Genesis is highly ghetto. Like, ghetto. Genesis is ghetto. But God was with everybody that he said he was going to be with. If God came down and told them people, I am with you, he was with them. I mean, they might have went through a lot of stuff. God ain't say they were going to go through nothing. What he said was, I am with you. And he was with them. And that just was a running theme throughout Genesis, and I picked up on that, and amongst the host of other things that was going on in the chapter. But yeah, I just picked up on that theme, and I applied that to my own life, and realized how God has been with me this whole time, like my whole life too. And now it's just at the point where I surrendered last year and just gave him the reins. Like, I don't want to be in charge of my life no more. I don't want to be in charge of my life anymore. You tell me where you want me to work, who you want me to marry, where you want me to live. Like, just show me these things, and I'll do it. Because me running around making my own decisions was like the equivalent of when Pharaoh let them people go, and they got to roaming around the wilderness doing figure eights for 40 years. Like, I've been doing figure eights for like at least 10 years, and I'm good. I don't need 30 more years of figure eights. I don't have 30 more years of figure eights. Like, I'd be 70 years old. And then for him to tell me I ain't gonna make it to the promised land, I'm trying to go to the promised land right now. So whatever I got to do to get there, Lord, listen, do it. I will do it. But what really, like, I ain't really talked about what even catapulted me into the journey that I find myself on the other side of. And to be honest, like, to sum it all up, it was definitely domestic violence that I experienced for the first time of my life in a relationship. Something that I never thought would happen to me. I never thought that I would be in a situation where I was dealing with domestic violence. And when I was dealing with it's so isolated. It becomes very isolating because it's embarrassing after a while, because now you keep going back after you realize what's really going on over here. And so I isolated myself away from people who I used to hang out with and talk to all the time. And you know what I'm saying? And I started to take on the identity of, I don't want to tell nobody I'm still with this person, and I really don't even want people to know I'm with this person. But in my mind, I love this person, and somehow we gonna make this work, and we gonna be together. But it never really worked out like that. And you know, I at first took on the role of being a victim, right? And so everything was that person's fault, and they did this and they did that. And then when the last incident happened in 2020, and I finally left the house and went and got my own place. Like, I was living alone at the time. I didn't have my daughters living with me, and I was living alone for the very first time in my life. I always had my kids living with me, so for me to just live alone, and everybody was going through COVID, it was just different because like everybody's home and everybody's isolated. So, you know, I had just came out of a women's shelter, and I've been there for 30 days, and I was reaching out to God at that point. I reached out to God at that point. I remember laying in that bed still, and it's been 3 years now, but I remember when I got in there, I don't think that it really set into me how, when I first got there, it took me 2 days to even talk to somebody. Like, I didn't even want to open my mouth. I felt like I don't belong here. I had my own place, and I'm still shaken up really badly from what just happened. And so I had to process a lot of stuff. I was sore still from what happened, and it was just like, why am I here? What am I doing here? Like, the sheriffs dropped me off there, you know? And my best friend was trying to tell me, like, I will fly you out here, like, let's go. Like, I done left Bowling Green a lot of times, at least 4 times, and moved to North Carolina because of some domestic violence issues in the past. And so when this happened, she was like, you are not gonna stay in no fucking shelter. I'm gonna come and get you. But I was like, no, I'm gonna stay. I'm not gonna run this time. I want God to come get me. And 30 days later, God came and got me. And I didn't have a job at the time. This is how I know God came and got me. And I got approved for an apartment that I applied for. I was working, but I was just getting cash from a lady who turned out to be like a family member of mine. How he put us in each other's lives at that time. We started off as co-workers, but she came into my life when I was in the shelter, and she didn't even know. Like, she was talking to me in my Facebook inbox at the time, so she had no idea, but she needed my help, and she told me she would pay me. And so I had to tell her where to pick me up from. And it just brings tears to my eyes now, because it's like watching God work. So I had this money that I was just saving up. You know, I didn't have no bills. I didn't have a car. I wasn't buying groceries. I was living in this shelter. And so when I told her where I was at, you know, I was so embarrassed, because it was like nobody knew I was there. My kids didn't know I was there. Taylor was in the military, so she was in Virginia, and it wasn't something that I had to tell her right away. My youngest was still living with her dad, and that wasn't something that I was going to tell her. And my middle daughter was living with her dad. From the last incident that I had experienced with domestic violence, she was living with us at the time. And so after I left, then she just left and stayed with her dad and didn't come back to me. That's why when I went into the women's shelter, she didn't know. She wasn't living with me at the time. So 30 days goes by. I got money in my pocket, but I'm not technically I don't have a job. You know, I don't have W-2s and pay stubs and all of this. So when I go to get this apartment and I signed the lease, no, first of all, it was brand new. They just built them, and nobody had even lived in those apartments yet. It was about 5 people out there total. And she asked me, which apartment do you want to stay in? And I was like, well, I want to stay where I can see the sunset every day, because I'm addicted to the sky. Like, I need to see the sun set or rise. And she was like, well, I know it sets over there. So I was like, well, I want the apartment that's over there. And I got in there and I was peeling the off the refrigerator and the appliances. I was peeling off the new plastic. You know, I was the first person in that apartment. And like I said, I didn't have a job. And the deposit was taken care of. I paid the down payment myself. And I was able to go get a car from like this buy here, pay here place, somewhere that I've never had to do before. But I used the lady who I was working for as my job, and he gave me the car. You know, I put my last that I had deposit down, and then of course I got my income taxes, so I was able to furnish the apartment. But it was just like watching God step in and put pieces where he needed to put them. Only he can do that, you know. And it was just like, once I got into that apartment, and then I had to sit with myself for like every day for all of 2020. And that's when I started to be able to understand what it is to be alone. Like, I started back dealing with the person months after I got into my apartment. Like, I still wasn't finished dealing with him yet. So now I'm in my own place, and I'm back feeling like I have some type of sense of independence again, because I've always had my own everything. But mentally, I am a wreck. And I don't know how to get myself back to myself. On the outside, I'm cool. I look the same. But mentally, like, I am crushed. My spirit is crushed. And I'm trying to still help and pour into other people like I've always done. And nobody really can reach deep enough to touch me or pour into me. So I just had to learn how to be by myself in 2020. I decided to stop drinking in 2020. I was going, because I live beside a liquor store, so I was going and buying wine almost every day, especially during the pandemic. So I told myself I'm going to stop drinking. And I just, because the night that the last situation that happened that put me into the women's shelter, we was drinking. And I remember him telling me, I don't remember what happened because I was drinking. And there would be times when there would be other incidences that would happen, but I was drinking, and then so he would try to turn the situation and be like, no, you don't remember, you was drinking. So that led up to me to say, you know what, I ain't drinking no more, because I don't want somebody to be able to tell me that the memory that I have isn't right because I've been drinking. So I'ma just eliminate that altogether. I'ma always be sober. Alcohol was never something that I needed to have. I always had alcohol to have fun when I would go out, and that's when we would drink. We was going out. So to leave alcohol alone was nothing for me. I wasn't addicted to it, but it was something that needed to happen. Well, I picked up smoking weed shortly after that. I would dabble in it. Like, I smoke it every now and then, and it just be, but I noticed that around the end of 2020, I would just come home and smoke, puff 2 or 3 times, and it would bring my anxiety down. And I would just feel good. My nervous system, I didn't notice at the time, but my nervous system was shot. It was fried from having gone through so much stuff in the last 3 years, 4 years, that it didn't feel good. Even though I was safe, my nervous system was still, so I was still dealing with this person. On and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. We still on and off. Even though I'm in my own place, I got my own car, I got my own job, I'm paying my own bills, I still went over there and we was back together. Now, fast forward to 2021, together. 2021, and then I done started going to school to be an esthetician on top of that by 2021. And I just was like, by now I'm praying like, God, just help us. The prayers was about us all the way up until 2021, when I was just like, help me. Something ain't right with me. I'm starting to realize that, getting these little sayings off of Facebook. Facebook was gone in 2020, so maybe Snapchat, I don't know. Twitter was like, if you want to gauge where your self-esteem is, then look at the things that you're tolerating. Things like that started just sitting in my spirit, and I knew that this relationship wasn't going to go anywhere, but I had hope that it would. So I was holding on to hope, because I really love this person. I never cheated on this person. Like, I married this person like right away, and we did everything really fast, and I was just like, this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with. I want us to build a life together. I want us to become rich together, and I want us to have generational wealth, and us be the first generation in our families to be able to create this. But these is the conversations that we used to have outside of the craziness that we used to have too. And so that's what kept me holding on, like, we can do this. We just brought in so much trauma from our past and our childhoods that we trying to be together, and I could see through that, and I was like, God, I know you can fix this. I'm fasting, I'm going to church every Sunday. Like, I'm really trying to figure out how God's gonna do it. And so we getting back, we breaking up, getting back together, like, we leaving each other alone, and then it just becomes a secret. So now we ain't even telling nobody that we back, because we know in about a month we not even gonna be speaking to each other. So it ain't no sense in telling people. If you just happen to see us, then cool. So I started to feel like I was doing a drug. I started to feel like I got strung out on this drug, and everybody found out I was on this drug. And then I went through rehab, but I relapsed, And so now when I do the drug, I have to do it in private. So don't nobody know I'm still doing the drug. And two, so that don't nobody judge me for doing drugs still. My brain was addicted to the up and down, the up and down, the up and down. You know, just like with a drug. It was the same thing. And that's just like I had to start learning and understanding what goes on in the brain when you're dealing with such a high I don't want to say a high toxicity, but when you're dealing with a relationship that has all of these ups and downs, you will develop that type of you'll develop that type of dependency on the relationship. And it's your brain saying, hey, I want to feel good again. So when you over here, y'all not together, your brain is trying to tell you, like, I want to feel good. I want to feel good. Go do whatever it is that makes you feel good. And when we would get back together, we would it would all feel good, and we would blast off. Just like taking that hit of drugs or whatever somebody drug preference is. I'm not really a drug person, but I would assume that when you hit that, it feels so good that you know what I'm saying? And that's what would happen. We would take trips and, of course, have sex and cook dinner. Like, sex wasn't even a big deal in our relationship. We had a good relationship outside of the physical part. Our conversations, we make each other laugh. Like, we both goal oriented, driven people, and we like to hang out. And it would be like when we hung out, then nothing else mattered. Like, it was just us. So we had a strong relationship, but it was just clouded with trauma. And so the weed came in and I started smoking, and it would always help me just to relax. And then it got to a point where I would smoke before I went around him just to keep me cool. Like, I just want to be cool and he gonna be cool and we just gonna be cool. Like, I'm gonna get high before I go over there, or I'm gonna get high when I get there. Like, I'm just gonna smoke a little bit. Like, I'm good and I'm ready. Then it became like the disrespect just didn't go away. The arguments there was no more I'ma choke you type of things going on. Now it's just the way we talk to each other is very, 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 very nasty. The things that was being said is nasty. The things that's being said is like, you just gotta know, like, people are mad and they hurt and they want to hurt you, so they gonna say whatever. And it's like, yeah, I forgive you for saying that, because I know I done said some things too, but I can't forget it. Like, I could be laying in the bed beside him and I would wake up and feel and remember something that he said about me. And so it would start making me feel self-conscious. Like, who do I believe? Do I believe this one when he said this, or do I believe this one when he was saying that? So when I started to have the self-awareness is in 2022, when I started ordering the books and I was just reading about different things, and I ended up ordering 2 books a month last year because I just wanted all this information, and I just was absorbing everything that I could. And then that's when I learned, like, this is you versus you. This ain't you versus them. Yeah, you've been dealt some pretty crazy cards your hand that you was dealt was strange. But you know, once you become self-aware, you don't get to not be self-aware anymore. And a lot of those books that I was reading had to do with self-awareness and understanding who I am. Understanding, okay, well, you know what, you do have these dad wounds and these mom wounds, and it causes you to seek these types of relationships. And so once you understand this and you understand that about self, now when you show up in the world, once you understand how to communicate, and you understand, and I had to understand that when I get upset and I shut down, it's a defense mechanism. And I had to learn how to talk, and I had to learn how to say how I felt, and having to understand what manipulation looks like and what does gaslighting sound like. And you know, is this really love or is this attachment? Do y'all have any type of chemistry together outside of physical? You know, just, do you even love yourself because of the things that you continue to tolerate? Um, Understanding that just because you feel this longing sense of, I miss this person, it's really just your brain missing the feeling of what came with when they come around. Your brain just wants to feel good. And it, just like with any other drug, when you take that drug away, your brain wants you to go do the drug so that it can feel good. This is why people say they are recovering alcoholics, or recovering for the rest of their lives. You're always recovering, because once they go back and do that drug again, they right back. The brain don't forget. This is why I could see, once I was made aware of these things, I could see what was dragging me back, what was allowing. I don't say dragging because I wasn't being dragged back. I was going back voluntarily. It didn't, I question now. I only question now, like, okay, having learned all of that about myself, was that love? And I had to say, what I was presenting to these people was the only form of love that I knew. Now I know what a healthy love looks like, and I'm prepared to give it to myself first, and then whatever I got left over, give to the man that's in my life. But I was trying to pour from an empty cup. I wasn't all the way together, and I wasn't whole. And so I was trying to go out and make other people whole. I had friends and people around me who I was trying to make whole, and I wasn't whole myself. But let me take from me and put into you, because that'll make me feel better knowing that I helped somebody else. I don't know what made me get on here and just spill all of that out, but I felt like before I could just keep moving forward, I just wanted to paint like a little foundation of what even projected me into the darkness that I had to go through. Like, I was alone. God was there. He didn't leave me. And it takes me to Genesis, where a lot of mess went on in Genesis, like a lot. But God told him, like, I'm gonna be here with you. I'm not gonna leave you. And I'm gonna take care of your descendants. And I'm gonna take care of your family and this and that. Even if you die, even when you die, I got them. And that just rang true to me, because in these last 2 years, the past 2 years, it was dark. It was dark. I had to go through it by myself. I couldn't take nobody with me, not my kids. You know what I'm saying? I got one friend through it all still. And I don't think that she really grasped the, I don't think that she's able to grasp what I went through because, one, we don't even live in the same town. We just talk on the phone, and I didn't have to tell her everything. She don't tell me everything. So it's like she don't even know what I had to really go through. She do understand that there's been some changes, and she does talk to me about how I have changed. But to know what I went through, I think you have to go through it on your own to even be like, yeah, I know. All I could do is tell my daughter when I was trying to describe it is going into a cocoon as a caterpillar, and being like, man, it's dark in here. I'm used to crawling around, and what I'm saying, being out here looking around, and then you next thing you know, you in this cocoon, and it's dark and it's wet, and I imagine it's just not. Where is everybody? But then what's crazy is you get used to it. So I got used to being closed in and on my. It felt like a blanket. Like it was my security to be alone. Now I got to be alone. That's how I felt. Like I got to be alone. Like I go out and get out there and be like, ooh, I hate it here. I want to go home. I want to go home. Or I don't want to go out at all ever. That's I haven't been out in so long. So once the cocoon break open and then this butterfly come out, it's got wings now. And now it's like, oh, I'm not gonna crawl on the ground no more. That's all I used to know. Now I have to fly and see the world from a whole totally different perspective. This is the same way this the only way I know how to describe what I just went through. Just coming out of the cocoon, and now I'm gonna soar. And it's like, God, only God could have transformed my life like that. But I had to ask him, and I had to trust him. And now I trust God so much that I don't question anything about my life. If anything happens in my life now, it's supposed to. It was supposed to happen. It doesn't happen to me. It happens for me. Anybody who leaves, anybody who comes, opportunities that come, opportunities that go, things that go wrong, like God, like it was supposed to happen. It's happening for me. I just look at the world different now. And now, my environment, he brought me over here to Maui for the past 7-8 months and let me sit and just finish up being in my cocoon. And I could feel that I came out of it about 2 months ago. February, for sure. I came out of my cocoon and I was like, you know what? This feels different. I'm out. I feel good. I still feel like I'm mourning that old person, but I appreciate her, but I don't need her no more like that. I got her from here, from this point, So now I'm ready to go to my next chapter in life and getting ready to accept these new opportunities that's coming into my life. I'm not a victim of nothing. I don't blame nobody for nothing. I don't hold no grudges for nobody. I forgive everybody. Like, I'm not mad at nobody. Everybody's on a journey. Everybody is on their journey. He was on his journey. The people that I was with before, the friends I've had, everybody is on their journey. And I just have to be understanding of that. And once I looked at it like that, I came out of the victim mode, because I have done wrong to people too along my journey and needed grace and understanding and acceptance and forgiveness. The same things we beg God for. We got to be able to give it to other people. So I end this saying that I am about to go on my next chapter in life. It's almost time for me to leave Maui. Maui been so good to me. I got a couple more things I need to do, but I got a phone call yesterday and it's time for me to move forward. I knew coming here I wasn't gonna be here long. I just didn't know how long, but yeah. It's time, y'all. So
it'll be cool to take y'all, like I said, just on this adventure. My YouTube channel is just about me discovering me, coming from a dark place. I am glad that you didn't have to see all of that back there, and you could just see from here on, and I could just pass back information from things that I've already experienced. I'm happy that I didn't have the YouTube channel back then, because I was in a victim mindset and I would have been blaming, a little bitter and a little upset and all of that. So I ain't in that space. I don't have that in my spirit. So everything in its time. I'm happy that I have this channel now, this platform now, and I'm excited to watch it grow and touch whoever it needs to touch. It is Wednesday morning. It's time for me to clock in. Thank you for listening as always. And I just hope that y'all can find it in yourself to just embrace the journey, man. You don't really have a choice. You can fight it, but why not go with the flow instead of trying to swim upstream? That just came off the dome. Stars.